Hey. Yeah, I never know how to start. I always feel awkward starting. Um, yeah, definitely still depression vlog. I'm wearing my glasses again. I'll probably stop next week, but I wanted to wear them again. I like them. So yeah, this weekend I drove home for Easter, and it was whatever. I mean, it wasn't good, but nothing is good, so I don't know. And I actually drove up to New Jersey. It took 7 hours to drive there, and 7 hours back. So I think being tired made me kind of depressed on Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday morning, I actually cried before I went into work, which I never do. Usually, I'm like tired at night and then I cry before bed or something. But today's Wednesday, so I had therapy and did a little bit better today. I signed up yesterday to volunteer for something called 4Kids, and I don't know exactly. It's like poverty thing where you help with poverty stuff. I don't know. And yeah, I mean, the dating app stuff definitely brings up a lot of thoughts of like, and doing IFS brings this to light too, which I'll talk about later, which is like, I just don't know who I am, even less so than like when I met my ex. I felt like I had a sense of self that was wrapped around social anxiety, which wasn't great, of like, I am anxious and like I'm working on my anxiety, and it's like a big part of my personality. And now I don't have that and I don't want it. And I haven't really built anything else except for like, I like running, I guess. But like, I mean, like, is that who I am? I'm like a running person. So yeah, just when you're getting back into a dating mode, you just feel like you have to be a very singular person. You have to know who you are, know what you want, and or you have to know that you don't know. It's like, I don't even know that I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know anything. I don't know who I am. Do I want short term? You have to pick on the app. Do you want short term? Do you want long term? Do you want medium term? Do you want short but maybe long but maybe short but maybe short term fun? But I don't know. I'm just figuring it out. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so I was journaling yesterday. I was trying to journal to help my depression because I was really sad yesterday. And I'm like, I gotta journal. I haven't journaled in a while. Last week I talked about like IFS and parts, and last week I was talking about the barrier part. And then when I was journaling this week, I was thinking about how like the barrier part is protecting myself from coming out, right? To be around people, and it's like, doesn't want me to be around people or whatever. And then in thinking that, I was like, well, try to define like your core self, who you are. And I was kind of describing like someone who's like a hyper person who's like talking to people all the time, and like even more animated than I am here, more talkative than I am here, like messaging people and being like, and sending them voice notes of like 50 minutes or something, and like, that's me. That's really me. And the barrier part is trying to protect that part from getting out, because he's crazy. He's hyper crazy man, and he's gonna like push people away. But I think what I realized when I was journaling is that hyper version of me, even like the hyper version, right now I'm being kind of low key because I'm more aware of being too hyper, I guess. But that hyper version isn't my core self. It's a part of me. It's the part of me that wants to connect with people. Growing up in social anxiety and isolation, that hyper part was definitely maybe not even there. Maybe didn't even exist. And it kind of grew out of this feeling of like, now that I don't have social anxiety, I can start connecting to people. And how do you do that? You have a personality and you're like wacky and you're like, I'm going to text people jokes, and you got to be crazy and be a person. Don't just be like, I'm an accountant and I am typing numbers. You can't connect with people that way. That's boring. If you're going to connect with people, it's got to be like explosion. Does that make sense? I don't know. So that is a part of me. And the whole idea of IFS is like, none of these parts are good or bad. It's just your job to understand. Like even if you have a part that's like a really angry part, that part in itself isn't inherently bad. It's only bad if that part comes out towards your kid and you're like yelling at them and like hitting them or something. That's bad. But that's only bad because your core self let your anger self take over when it shouldn't. There are times when your anger self should take over. Like if someone's about to hit your kid, I guess. I don't know. And you hit them. And so the hyper self, for me, like it is good sometimes. Like it is a part of me. It's a part of me that wants to be like kind of crazy and wacky and weird. And the goal isn't to like be like, oh, I noticed that my hyper self isn't my core self, so I need to put it in a box and hide it in a corner. No. The goal is just to be aware that that's not my core self. It's a part of me that's trying to connect. It's like, okay, be the most you can be. Text people, send voice messages, be like crazy and be personality, make jokes and stuff. And then you will connect. And I think it was really important to realize that because, I mean, I'm not feeling any connections even when I'm being that person. So obviously that's not working, and understanding that that's what it's doing helps me to be like, okay, when that person is driving, its goal is to connect and it's not connecting. So I need to tell it that like you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing or what you think you're doing. So maybe don't drive right now. Maybe let my core self like drive, and maybe only let the hyper self out like once in a while when I want to be wacky or whatever. I don't know. So we actually didn't talk too much about that in therapy today. We were more trying to be like, because I had trouble yesterday. I wanted to journal about the barrier self, but the barrier self like wasn't coming up yesterday or Monday. What was coming up was this self that we called like a powerless self. And it's kind of, I don't know, maybe as I'm talking about this, it kind of sounds a little wonky, like IFS is stupid yourselves and whatever, but I think it's helpful. Just like CBT was kind of helpful to just be like noticing your thoughts in a different way. Yeah, I guess it's like, I'm trying to think of an analogy, and this is probably going to be dumb, but I just cooked food, so I'm thinking about food. It's like, let's say you make some kind of a stew with carrots and beef and broth and salt and pepper and all this stuff. You taste the stew and it's like bad. It tastes terrible. And you're not sure why. So then maybe the next time you make the stew, like you don't add salt and see if it tastes good. And then you're like, okay, maybe the salt has bugs in it or something. I don't know. So you like just separate out these parts of you to focus on each of them. Like the salt is your depressive part or whatever, or your powerless part. And then you're like, okay, then you can focus on it. There's probably a better analogy, but whatever. And be like, okay, what's wrong with this? Or not what's wrong, but like, what is happening here with the salt? Is there something, too much salt, too little salt? Why is it messing everything up? Salt is fine on its own. We love salt. But too much, too little, whatever, it messes up the whole thing. So that's kind of how it feels when we're doing IFS. We're like separating these parts instead of everything just being like this confused mixture, a farrago, if you will. I like farrago. Farrago is one of my words from like 8 years ago when I started this channel. Do you remember that? And I was one of the things I was trying to do was do a word a day for every week. And one of my words of the day was farrago, and I still think about it. It means a confused mixture. Yeah, so today when I went in to therapy, she was like, what part of you is like the most active, or like which part do you want to talk to or whatever that you're feeling bad about? And we talked about the powerless part because that was the part that was coming up a lot yesterday, where basically, I don't know. I can go into super depth about what we talked about and everything, but I want to keep it short. Yeah, so this powerless self comes up when I try. You can even say that there's a trying part. And this is when we were talking. She's like, there's a lot of parts and maybe it can be confusing. Try not to make it confusing. But okay, there's a part of me that tries. You can even call this the hyper part that we were calling before. the trying part, the hyper part that's like trying to connect. And then once that part like tries to connect with people and it doesn't work, the powerless part comes and takes over, and like you can call it the powerless part or the depressive part. And it's like nothing you can do. See, your social anxiety is gone, and you can try now. You can be you. You can go to baseball and be you without anxiety. And you still can't connect to people. You can do a dating app, people unmatch with you. Nobody wants to talk to you. That's when the powerless part comes up. So we were trying to just identify parts really today, and then we talked more about like the critic part, or I don't know. As I get into depth, it kind of makes sense in my head, but I feel like it might not make sense when I'm explaining it. I just feel like it's worth digging into. I mean, it was really a big revelation to me yesterday when I was like, and that's why I'm being a little bit more subdued today, because I'm trying to be more my core self. And I think that the hyper self isn't actually my core self, and I shouldn't let it drive when I'm trying to connect with people. Exactly. I mean, sometimes like you want to be funny and that's part of me, but I shouldn't let it drive. Like if you want to connect with people, here's a premise, I don't even know if it's true, to IFS, which is like if you want to connect to somebody, you have to do it with your core self, at least a little bit driving. And my core self like never drives. It's always hyper self, it's barrier self, it's depressed self, it's anxious self. I don't even know what my core self is. And I really think like this is a premise. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I mean, all this IFS stuff is like BS anyway, right? I mean, it's just whatever. It's all make 'em up, so we could just say whatever we want. Whatever we want to say to help us get better, we say. And if it helps us, then it does. Then it's like, I don't know. I'm sure there's like a textbook to follow IFS, but then it like becomes a religion and stupid and like culty. So, whatever. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The only right way is to help. And this is the way I think will help me understand why I'm having trouble connecting with people, is because I'm never able to access my core self. Some other part of me is blocking core self from your core self. And then something like you've heard people say is like, oh, I deflect with humor or something. And so it's like, yeah, I mean, the hyper self, the talkative self, the YouTube self. Oh God, is there any worse self than the YouTube self? No. Kill that one. You're not allowed to kill any selves, but you can kill that one. The YouTube self you can kill. But yeah, okay, that's it. I'm done with YouTube for today. We got a lot of nice comments. Very encouraging and nice people. I would like to try to interact with people more in some kind of a way. I don't know. Commenting's probably the only way. But like, during this video, be like, thanks for commenting, Greg. Greg, how are you doing today? I actually know people's names. I should say some, or maybe not. I never know. But I feel like it's nice to try to be like, who else is sad? Is anybody watching? Anybody sad? How are you doing? Okay. Anyway, that's enough. Smell you later.